You ever walk into a room and feel the air change, not because you said anything, not because you flexed or dressed loud, but the second your foot crosses the threshold the whole place shifts. Conversations drop half an octave. The loud guy in the corner suddenly remembers he has a phone call. Someone's laugh gets caught in their throat. People find reasons to look at the floor, the bar, anywhere but directly at you for too long. That, brother, is the first dead. Giveaway sign that your aura just became too heavy for most people to carry. I started noticing it after about 90 days of living the stack. We've been hammering in this channel. No more people pleasing, no more explaining myself, no more reacting to every little poke. Just calm, locked-in energy every single day. And one random Tuesday I walked into a coffee shop I'd been to 100 times before. Same baristas, same morning crowd, and the entire vibe tilted. The guy who used to talk over everyone went quiet mid-sentence. The girl scrolling TikTok loud enough for the whole line to hear suddenly turned her volume to 0. Even the music felt softer. I hadn't changed clothes, gained 20 pounds of muscle overnight, or won the lottery. I just stopped leaking power, and the room felt it like a pressure drop before a storm. That's what real presence does. It doesn't announce itself with noise. It arrives like gravity. Most people have never been around someone who's fully in control of their own energy, so when you show up locked in, their nervous systems go on red alert. Fight, flight, or freeze. Some choose freeze, they go quiet. Some choose flight, they pretend to be busy. A few choose fight, we'll talk about them later, but the majority just shrink a little because your stillness exposes how chaotic they feel inside. The monks called this entering with the mountain. You don't have to be big, rich, or loud. You just have to be complete. No holes in your frame for people can hook into. No need for approval leaking out of your eyes. No apology in your walk. When that completeness shows up, average energy has nowhere to land, so it bows or it scatters. And here's the part that will mess with your head at first. Some people will literally get nervous around you and have no idea why. They'll say you're intimidating, when all you did was order a black coffee. They'll tell their friends something about that guy. While struggling to explain it, that's not arrogance talking. That's their intuition screaming that the normal rules don't apply to you anymore. If you're watching this and you've started noticing rooms get quieter when you walk in, congratulations. You're no longer background noise. You're the new standard, and most people aren't ready for what that feels like up close. When the room goes quiet the moment you arrive, your aura just outgrew the space. Own it. You know the feeling. You walk in, the room quiets for a second, and then, boom, some guy who's never met you suddenly needs to prove something. He hits you with a loud joke at your expense, a back-handed compliment, a fake, friendly who invited the serious guy. Or he just starts puffing his chest and talking over everyone like he's marking territory. That right, there is the second dead. Giveaway sign, your aura just became too powerful for weak men to handle. They feel the shift before their conscious brain can explain it, and their ego goes straight into defense mode, and the only weapon they have is to test you fast and hard. It's pure animal instinct. Prey doesn't test predators. Predators test anything that might be a bigger predator. When a man you've never threatened starts swinging within the first 60 seconds, he's not attacking you. He's trying to convince himself you're not above him in the food chain. I used to take it personally, thought guys were just assholes. Then I realized it only happens when I'm locked in, when I'm tired, distracted, or people pleasing. Nobody tests me. I'm safe. I'm average out. But the days I wake up at 5 a.m., hit the stack, move slow and calm, eyes steady, that's when the tests rain down like clockwork. Gym, office, bar, family dinner, doesn't matter. Weak energy smells strong energy and immediately tries to knock it down a peg. The monks had a name for these guys, barking dogs. A dog sees a lion walk by, dog loses its mind, lion doesn't even turn its head, that's the blueprint. The second you start reacting, defending, laughing too hard, trying to prove you're cool, you fail the test and drop straight back into the pack. But when you give them the slow nod, the calm stare, maybe one quiet sentence or nothing at all, The barking gets smaller every second until it stops completely. I've watched grown men run out of material in under 30 seconds and end up mumbling apologies they didn't plan on giving. Here's the part most guys never get. The test isn't about you, it's about them. They need to know the hierarchy is still safe. When you refuse to play, you quietly announce a new hierarchy where they're not even on the board. That's why strong men rarely test you. They recognize the energy and just nod. It's the insecure ones who can't stand the idea that someone walks in already above them without saying a word. So when the loud joke drops, when the fake, friendly jab lands, when the random dude starts flexing for no reason, smile inside because you just got confirmation. Your aura is operating at a level their ego can't process, so it's throwing punches at smoke. When weak men test you within 60 seconds of meeting you, your power just became undeniable. Let them swing and watch them tire themselves out. You walk past a table, order a drink, step into an elevator, and suddenly two things happen at once. Half the women can't stop staring, and the other half suddenly become the most fascinated by their phone humans on Earth. One group locks eyes too long, pupils wide, like they just felt a static shock. The other group turns their whole body away, pretends to laugh at nothing, or starts fixing their hair like they're allergic to eye contact. That split reaction is the third unmistakable sign your aura just hit a frequency most people aren't wired to handle. It's not about looks, money, or height anymore. Those things get attention, but they don't create this weird polarity. This happens when your energy is locked down so tight that it radiates without permission. Some women feel it like a magnet and lean in automatically. Others feel it like a threat to their control and immediately try to block it out. Both reactions are the same coin. They're responding to power they can't ignore. I started noticing it in the strangest places. Grocery store checkout, gas station at 6 a.m. walking the dog, places where nobody should care. But the locked-in days, the days I'd done the stack, spoken less, moved slower, women would do double, takes like I'd just walked out of a movie, and the ones who couldn't handle it would literally turn their backs or bury their faces in their phones so hard you'd think the screen owed them money. At first I thought I had something on my shirt. Then I realized it only happened when I was operating at full voltage. There's a primal circuit that flips when a man carries zero neediness and total self-ownership. Some women are drawn to it like moths to a flame. They feel safe and electric at the same time. Others feel exposed, like your calm is quietly calling out every insecurity they're hiding behind makeup and attitude. So they hide harder. Both responses are proof you're no longer playing in the same league as the average guy who's still seeking validation. The funniest part, the ones who pretend you don't exist are usually the ones who check if you're still looking 30 seconds later. The ones who stare too long are the ones who message you 3 weeks later with some random, "Hey, didn't we meet somewhere?" excuse. Your aura did the approaching for you. You just stood there breathing. If you're experiencing this split screen reaction from women everywhere you go, congratulations. You've stopped broadcasting nice guy who hopes you like him, and started broadcasting man who's complete with or without you. Most can't handle that transmission. Some are addicted to it on contact. When women either can't look away or can't look at all, your presence just became polarizing, and polarizing is the first stage of legendary. Embrace it. You know you've crossed the line when respect stops being something you chase and starts being something people just hand you without thinking. Doors get held a little longer. The guy who usually cuts the line steps aside without a word. The server brings your drink first even when you ordered last. Someone offers you the better seat before you even glance at it. Strangers lower their voice when they talk to you like they're afraid of disturbing something. That automatic deference is the fourth rock, solid sign your aura is now too heavy for the average world to treat you like average. It's not about money or muscle anymore. I've watched broke dudes in plain t-shirts get this treatment and rich guys in Rolexes get ignored in the same room. The difference is the quiet certainty that leaks out of every movement when you've finally stopped needing the world to validate you. People feel it in their bones and their instincts kick in. This man doesn't negotiate for respect. He simply expects it, and somehow that expectation rewires everyone around him. I first felt it on a random flight. Boarded last, middle seat, nothing special. The guy on the aisle stood up without being asked and let me slide in like it was obvious I belonged there. Flight attendant brought me water before the safety demo even started. The passenger next to me kept his elbows tucked the entire 4 hours like he was scared to invade my space. I hadn't said a word, hadn't flexed, hadn't paid for an upgrade. I'd just come off 90 straight days of the stack, locked frame, no leaks, total ownership of self. My energy did the talking and the entire cabin answered. That's when it hits you, real respect isn't loud. It's quiet compliance from people who don't even know why they're complying. They just feel the weight and adjust automatically. The same guy who would have bumped you in line 6 months ago now waits. The same clerk who used to give attitude now says, "Sir," without thinking. The same room that used to ignore you now parts like you're walking with an invisible security detail. And the wild part, you barely notice it at first because you're no longer scanning for approval. You're not keeping score of who respects you. You just expect the standard and the world starts meeting it. That's the shift from chasing respect to radiating it. If people are suddenly giving you space, priority, softer voices, and automatic courtesy without you asking for any of it, congratulations. You've stopped auditioning for a role in their movie and started directing your own. The audience always recognizes the director even when he's wearing a plain black hoodie. When respect shows up unasked, your aura just became the new law of any room you enter. You start hearing it everywhere once the shift really locks in. You're intense now. You've changed. You're kind of cold. Why so serious? You're different. Your mom worries you're in a cult. Old friends say you're not fun anymore. Coworkers whisper that you're intimidating. Random people on the street call you mysterious or scary, like it's an insult. That chorus of labels is the fifth undeniable sign your aura just outgrew the frequency most people are comfortable living on. They are not attacking you, they're confessing. Your new standard is a mirror, and what they see in it makes them squirm. The same habits they used to share with you, complaining, gossiping, joking about weakness, staying small, suddenly feel embarrassing when you're standing there calm, quiet, and clearly on a different trajectory. So instead of raising their game, they slap a label on you to make the discomfort stop. I've had it thrown at me 1,000 times. You're too intense, from the guy who can't wake up without snoozing 6 times. You're cold, from the friend who still cries over girls who ghosted him in 2019. You've changed, from family who want the old version back because he was easier to control. Every single accusation was proof I was doing it right. Because when you level up, the old circle doesn't evolve, it accuses. The monks warned us this would happen. They said the second you choose the mountain over the village will call you crazy so they don't have to feel lazy. They'll say you're extreme so they don't have to face mediocre. They'll say you're cold so they don't have to admit they're soft. Let them talk. Their words are just echoes bouncing off a wall that no longer move. Here's the secret nobody tells you until you get here. The labels stop stinging the day you realize they're compliments in disguise. Intense means disciplined. Cold means unshaken. Different means free. The moment you stop explaining yourself to people who liked you better when you were weaker, the final chain breaks. So when the accusations start flying, smile inside. They're not criticizing you. They're announcing to the room that you've become the standard they're afraid to measure themselves against. If people suddenly need new words to describe you because the old ones don't fit anymore, Your aura just became too powerful for their comfort zone. Good, let them stay uncomfortable. You hit the final sign when something inside you flips and never flips back. One day you wake up and realize you're completely okay being disliked, not just tolerating it. You actually prefer it. The fear of someone thinking you're too much or not enough just evaporates. You'd rather walk alone than shrink to fit. You'd rather lose the room than lower your standard. Solitude feels like fuel instead of punishment. Confrontation feels like Tuesday. Silence feels like home. That total comfort with being the villain in someone else's story is the sixth and final proof your aura is now operating at a level most people will never touch. I remember the exact morning it locked in. I was sitting on a bench after training, soaked in sweat, staring at nothing, and some old acquaintance walked by, gave me the up-down, muttered weird under his breath, and kept moving. 6 months earlier that little dig would have stung for hours. That morning it didn't even register, I felt. Nothing, not anger, not superiority, just zero charge, like a bullet bouncing off steel, and in that moment I knew the last leash was gone. The need for approval, the fear of judgment, the reflex to explain myself, all dead. I was finally complete with or without the crowd. That's the summit, when you no longer trade your peace for their comfort. When you can sit in a room full of people who secretly resent your discipline and feel calmer than if you were alone. When you can lose friends, followers, even family opinions, and still sleep like a baby because your standard is no longer for sale. Most men never get here. They spend their whole lives doing mental gymnastics to stay likable, stay safe, stay invited. They dim the light the second someone squints. They apologize for winning. They laugh at jokes that aren't funny just to keep the temperature mild. And they die average because of it. But when you become comfortable being disliked, everything accelerates. Opportunities that require risk find you. Women who want a real man find you. Rooms that need a real leader open without you knocking. Because the world doesn't reward the man everyone likes. It rewards the man who doesn't need to be liked. If you've reached the point where being misunderstood feels like freedom, where silence is strength, where walking away is easy, and where someone else's discomfort no longer rents space in your head, congratulations. You're no longer compatible with average. Your aura is now too powerful, too clean, too unshakable for the majority to stand next to without feeling their own cracks. When you're finally at peace being the bad guy in rooms that need good men, your power becomes permanent. Welcome to the top. Stay there.